In this video we're going to talk about the Suzuki TS185 restoration project and some work I've got to do in the fork tubes. This particular fork tube has been replaced with new, brand new reproduction forks from Frank's Engineering in Illinois. I already have those tubes. But what I have to do is remove two items from the old tube because it doesn't come with, the new tubes didn't come with two items. And that's a snap ring that you can't see in the video right here. And I'll show that in a moment. And then this valve, it's pinned on the end of the tube. So what I'm going to take you through today is drilling out the pins or the dowels that locate this valve on the end of the tube so that I can move it over to the new reproduction tubes, and then I'll have to spot weld that valve on each tube back on. So that's what this is about. So here's a close-up of the original fork tube. You can see the snap ring right here that eventually I'll transfer over to the new reproduction tube. Two of them, of course, one for each tube. And then this valve body right here on the end. And there's a dowel or a pin here, and then there's one on the bottom that I have to drill out so that I can remove this valve body and transfer it over to the new replacement tubes because the new ones don't come with this. So this video is really going to be about just drilling that out. The approximate diameter of that dowel, that pin right there, is 13/64. So obviously this one was originally metric, but I'm not going to worry about that. So I just found a good sharp 13/64 drill bit, and I'm just going to drill it out. And both of them, I got to drill both pins. Now one could center punch that, start with a smaller drill bit and work up, those kind of things. And if this is real precise work, I probably would do it that way. But I'm not going to put that kind of effort into this. I'm going to start it carefully and then just drill continuously down, relieving the chips as I go. I will feel when the bit passes from the valve body into the tube itself. I will end up making a slight drill indentation into this tube, but I don't care. This isn't going to be used anyway, or reused. It's simply, at this point, I'm going to be scrapped out. It probably could be re-chromed. I do have a line on a company that will re-chrome these, but that would actually cost more. Based on the quote they provide me, it costs more than just buying new reproduction items from Frank's. So even drilling into this, it could have been preserved, but I'm not too concerned about that since it's not going to be reused. So let's go ahead and drill this. Just add a little cutting fluid there as lubrication. Make sure you wear safety glasses. I'm going to get it started, then I'm going to check it to make sure I'm reasonably centered, and I am. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect because of the nature of the design of this, but this will work fine. If you find yourself a little bit off center, you can straighten it out by, like you see me doing here, tilting it just a little bit and letting it work. And then gradually bringing it back to a vertical position. And I'll just continue on through until I can feel it pass through the valve body and into the fork. Probably not too far away from going through, and I'll feel it grab. And it'll make a sound, a distinct sound when I pass from the valve body and into the tube below. Right there, I can feel it right there. I want to be careful here because you don't want to break your bit. Drill just far enough through and into the tube so that I'm confident that I've cleared the vast majority of the pin or the dowel. It doesn't really make any difference how far into the tube I go. As long as I go deep enough. Okay, that was that side. And this is side 2. Cutting oil. As before, I've got to be getting close to the transition from the valve to the fork tube. Right there, I can just feel it just start to grab. Again, you got to be careful here because you don't want to break your bit off. The last thing you want to do. So I'm just going to go a little bit further and then see if I can't get that valve off. Yep, there we go. You can see where I drilled it out. There's a shim that I want to preserve and reuse. But here's the unit itself. See if we can get a good shot of that. You can see that it's got these holes for fluid. So this does have to be, if the bike's gonna be reusable anyway, you have to make sure you move this valve, and that's why I called it a valve. This is where the pins were, or the dowels. It simply went through, and it must have been looking at the inside of the tube, it must have been a pointed type of pin, because on the inside there's just the ever slightest hint of a point, or a sharp point. So it was probably a pressed in or a tapped in kind of arrangement. I'm not going to bother drilling this out, because again, I'm not reusing this tube anyway at this point, because I have new replacement tubes. So the next step will be to clean this up really well, as well as the shim, and then put it on the new tube, and then I'll spot weld through this on the new tube. The new tube, by the way, does not have holes or alignment. It's got these holes. There's, I think, 4 of them all the way around, equally spaced or symmetrical, but it does not have holes for this dowel pin. So it doesn't make any difference, I don't think, how I place that on the new fork, but I'll spot weld it in place on both sides. And then I'll have completed the transfer of these items. I'll go ahead and remove this split pin, which is really a locator right here. I'll have to get that off, slide it off of this end, and transfer that to the new fork also. So I'll pick this up when I'm ready to spot weld these 2 pieces on the new fork tubes. And here's the finished forks. They're both actually done. I thought I'd just show you one of them. Here you can see the spot weld. There's one on both sides. See that there? These are relief holes for the hydraulic system of the forks. So this is the new replacement fork tube, inner tube, that I got from Forking by Frank. I got the snap ring on. That's actually a retainer ring, and then these valve caps. So this tube now is ready to go. and be installed when I get the lower legs back from the chrome shop, which I'm expecting in the next week or so.